Welcome back to the Hitchman Podcast. We are talking all things dating, all things relationships. We got my good friend here, Sydney Rivera, my boy. I've known him since he was 17 years old. I think I was 19. We played college soccer together at Old Dominion University in Norfolk, Virginia.
Go Monarchs.
Go Monarchs. So we're going to bring Sydney on here today to talk about, some things. He is currently in a relationship, so I'm sorry, ladies, he is off the market. But we're going to kind of talk to him about, his transition. He played professional soccer, and then after playing professional soccer, he moved here to New York City because he wanted to be closer to me, of course. And now he is in a relationship, and I want to kind of get his expertise and some kind of points and tips for my guys out there. And also maybe the girls, because he's got a little perspective from maybe his girlfriend. And we're going to talk to him kind of about that transition from moving to the city to being a working professional to dating and, all things in between. So thanks for coming on. Are you nervous?
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Are you nervous? No.
I'm Showtime, baby.
Oh, he's ready.
Yeah.
I love it. He's Sydney is a forward. He's a goal scorer, so he's very confident. So
No shy.
yeah, he's not shy. He's not shy. I was just talking to Sean about you actually yesterday, because I'm trying to get you. to
Shout
come
out to Tutrisco.
Yes, Tuchisco. I'm trying to get him to come play on my Nyack team, and he's not wanting to come play. So you. Trying to get you to come play,
Yeah.
Okay, so my first question to you is, I want to ask you, when you moved here to the city and you started dating, what were some things that you looked for in girls, qualities, values, things that really stuck out to you when you were going on dates with these girls?
Two different parts of my life. I would say when I stopped playing soccer and I chose to get into the business world and end my career and start my second life, that was COVID time. And I was I was 28 at the time. I started to see a girl that lived in Queens, ended up getting a job here in the city. We moved in together in Queens. And that was my real start, being back in New York. I'm born and raised in Staten Island, moved out to Jersey, and then, traveled in between. So that's really, New York has always been home for me, and I've always felt very comfortable and just home.
Yeah.
This is home. So that was initially my start.
I remember those days.
And then I actually moved into the city in 23. I was single for a year, and I would say that was actually my first real time being single in New York and really experiencing the energy in the city, the vibes.
I remember talking about that with you a lot.
Yeah. No, we did.
And like the different places you take them, and like what, where, like what restaurant should I go here? What, like, and it gets, I think the thing is it's draining too, right? When you're like you're working hard in your profession.
Yeah, I mean,
but
I don't find it draining at
Okay.
all. I think what could be draining is the amount of people that you start to meet, and let's say you go on a couple of bad dates, that becomes a little bit draining. Your perspective kind of changes. Maybe you get a little bit down on yourself or just down on the situation in general. Right, frustrated. But it's like anything in life. You have to face adversity, and not everything is going to come to you in a flash or as soon as you want. So you kind of just have to take everything in stride. And I think, to answer your question after a little bit of a long
it's okay. It's good.
intro,
I like the banter.
I would say someone who is confident in themselves, someone who's self-confident. That's super important. I'll relate this to, most recently, I went to Miami last week. Granted, this is a year into a relationship. I was in Miami last week. Buddies I was with
the boys.
the guys I was with who are dating girls back here in New York. It's a different friend group. And we went to go celebrate our buddy's birthday, and some of them dealt with some issues, whereas I was okay. My girlfriend, I have full confidence in you. Go have fun, enjoy. That is something that I think she's confident in herself, confident in our relationship, confident in me. So that's important. And then secondary to that, I would say is the communication side, being able to be a good communicator, being able to let people know how you feel. If there's something that you don't like, bring it
Yeah.
up so we can
Speak
clear
your
the
mind,
air.
Yeah.
Um, I think I'm digressing, or I'm too fast forward. First date, self-confidence, the way you hold yourself, the way you communicate, I would say still is an important thing. Um, your hobbies, what you do, on a day-to-day basis.
Probably fitness and active.
Yeah, that's I mean that's for me
Yeah.
personally, right? For me
But I feel
personally,
like, could you
because
date someone that wasn't like healthy and active?
it's a good question. I think,
I feel like it's been such like a big part of our lives, right? That
yeah,
I have found that like if I'm dating someone that's not into fitness, it becomes an issue because it's like we wake up every day and we're running to the gym. So like that, and it's a thing too where if you don't share that common passion of health and fitness and our diet and those things, it sometimes that become a little bit of an issue.
100%. I certainly think that fitness and or being with someone, if you are big into fitness, that's an important factor. You know, I think that goes into like similarities
Yeah.
of what you have with your partner. And at the end of the day, I think the word partner is a really important.
Your teammate.
It should be your
Yeah.
teammate. It should be someone that you confide in, someone that you
Trust.
can trust and can build with.
Yeah. I mean, I think that that's a good point, right? I think, I know your partner and I think she's amazing. I think she is confident and silly and goofy and all of those things. And I think she comes from like good values, right? I think that's something that knowing you and knowing your family, and I love your mother to death. She's like the sweetest lady ever. And you were raised by like a really strong, amazing woman. So I think that is another side, like similar to me. It's like you want to find that person that really will fit in also with your family and be able to keep up because I know your mother loves you and you are her boy, so I think that's another side of it, right, too. Like she's gonna want a girl that takes care of you and treats you well and treats you right, which I think your girl definitely does that. Someday hopefully we're gonna get both of you on here together, so we can that might be a fun episode because you guys are kind of, how long in are you
In
dating?
with dating, we just did a year in January, so going on a year in 2 months.
Okay, I love that for you.
Yeah.
So the next thing I kind of want to talk to you about, and I know, I've been so proud of you, and I knew when you came here to New York, you were going to kill it because you just have like the best personality. And I talked about you last week on my podcast because like anytime you meet any of my friends, all my friends love you, and you're like so kind and gracious and good looking and all of those things, which also help. But how have you found kind of this transition kind of coming into working in New York City and like the grind and like becoming, an athlete into a businessman, and now like juggling work and juggling, being in a relationship and kind of finding the time to kind of do both?
Yeah, I think that's it's the golden question everyone loves to ask when they see my background and they know, what I did prior to joining the real world, quote unquote. It's not easy. It's definitely not easy. I call it my second life, especially because I'm not doing something around soccer and sports, which TBD, because I'd like to. But it's a grind. I think I look at what I needed to do to become successful within the soccer world and within the sports world. And that was years and years of work.
Yeah, totally.
Which is super hard to contextualize now because obviously you're a little bit older. You feel like you have to deal with the feelings of starting a little bit later than everyone else.
Yeah.
I was blessed enough to have the career that I had, 8 years, traveling the world, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of successes, a lot of times that, I wish that maybe would have been different, but have shaped me to be who I am today.
Yeah.
So, all experiences that I will always cherish and I will hold with me going forward. And now it's kind of just navigating the same thing that I did as a soccer player in the business world, using the same discipline, the same commitment, showing up every day, and just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
right? Like you don't
Hard
know
work.
what you don't know,
Yeah.
and you got to put yourself into the fire and figure it out.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good. I have a couple points, and I think the same, right, is when you're in relationships, and I talk about this with my guys all the time. Is like it's gonna be hard. Relationships are hard. It's not gonna be easy, but it's worth it, right? And I think that's the same idea. I think we're lucky because one, we came from like parents that love was always a big part of our life, so like that's just kind of second nature to us, and we've always been relationship people. And also we also were our parents taught us hard work, and through with our soccer world, really that it was another whole transition of like in our business world, right? What I'm doing now with Hitchman, it's like wasn't prepared for this as an athlete, right? It was like in college, I mean, I barely went to class, you know what I mean? Like we were playing soccer, we went to school to play soccer. And
I went to class.
yeah, you were better than I was. But and I just wrote about it today because I just ran in a charity event down in Palm Beach, and it was for depression, and similar, you did it as well, but I tore my ACL in the last 10 minutes of my career. In Georgetown, this is why also I hate the cold. I was going to write that today. I was like, the reason I hate the cold is because that's probably because of that. But I really talked about, right, like in that 6 months, I dealt with depression, but I had the hard work and the mentality from a young age to really be like, you know what, this was, I'm getting derailed, but like I got to put my head down and I got to work hard. And it's the same thing with relationships, right? And it's the same thing with business. You have to just be able to work, right? And I think you also have to be able to put your foot in the game and really be like, okay, I'm here. I'm gonna get out there. I'm gonna meet people. I'm gonna I'm gonna shoot my shot, and I'm gonna do what I can and put myself in front of the right people, and see where it goes. And I think that's Sydney. I feel like sometimes although he's very wise, I feel like sometimes like my little brother, especially now him being here in the city, and I'm like, I'm just because I'm so proud of you and like all the work that you've done. And it's nice to also have like I don't have another ODU guy here in the city, so I've been here since 2014.
Yeah.
So I've been here for a long time. So it's nice to kind of have like a brother here in the city, to someone that like we've known each other for so long. Right?
Yeah,
I think
we grew up together. For
yeah,
sure.
and I think that's also it's really cool to kind of see your journey now in dating. All right, so the next question I want to ask you is it's about your relationship and kind of how you went from that first date to 3 months to 6 months to 1 year to kind of now you're over the year mark and you guys have done some traveling together. What were some things that you feel like you kind of had to do as the man, as the you grew up, and I know that your dad was the caretaker, right? He was the one that kind of provided for the family, and I know your mom worked, but it was, he definitely took on that role. So what were kind of those things that kind of helped you really develop the, in that stage of your relationship now?
That's a loaded question, huh? I think you asked two different questions.
Okay.
It was one, the length, the 3 months, how was that from the first date there? So that's one, and then the other side is how I
answer in rapid fire. Let's go.
All right.
Come on.
All right.
Let's go.
So I think everyone is unique.
That's why you're here, because I'm asking
you. My relationship with my girlfriend happened. It started over coffee. It started on a dating app. Didn't get a response.
Persistence.
Yes. Sales.
You sent a DM,
one and
right?
the same.
Yeah.
Sent a DM, just asking for coffee, and we got coffee. That was on a Saturday. We got coffee on a Monday, which was a holiday, and we saw each other. We spent 2 hours in the freezing cold outside. So I kind of, the vibe was good. Obviously, it was the coldest day of the year in 2024 and the beginning of January, and we're still sitting outside. And we did it for 2 hours. So
wow.
I wanted to see her again. So I had asked right then and there, I think maybe that night or maybe the next day, when I could see her again and what her plans were throughout the week. She was getting ready to go on a bachelorette. We saw each other before she left on Thursday.
Got in there.
Then she was gone. I was gone the next week in Florida for just spending some time with a couple of friends. And then when I got back, I think we set up some time. We did a workout class together. To your point earlier, she's in fitness. I enjoy that. So we did a workout class together. Then I cooked. I cooked dinner.
Wow,
So
I love that.
it's mixing and matching. And I think doing things that you would normally do on your own anyways, and having someone there to elevate that experience in a way that like it just makes it more fun. And then that's kind of how the relationship started to grow. And we just became a little bit like after every day we wanted to see each other, and that's how it kept growing and building. And it helped that we lived a short walk away from each other, which was a
Yeah.
coincidence in itself. But
You know, I think the one thing, and the nice thing about this is I have some insight. I feel like because you were in the beginning, you're persistent and you were on it and you were like, let's see each other, and that's something that I think, when I was dating, I never was scared to send a text. I was never like, and if someone was gonna turn me down, then they turn me down, but at least I shot my shot, right? And I think that's something that, in this competitive nature here in New York City, it's like right there, you just said, like, I sent her a message on the dating app, she didn't respond, and so I sent her a DM. You know what I mean? And like, so it's like, I think there's that idea. Sometimes guys lack the confidence because they don't want to get turned down. And I think that for me, it's like, I don't know where that comes from. I think the worst thing is, they're going to say no or they don't respond. But I think then always in your head, you don't have that doubt of like, well, at least, I shot my shot.
No, you
right?
definitely need that. And obviously like it's not like I'm immune to that either. That's happened to me as well.
Right, of course.
So, it's kind of just figuring it out as you go, like everything else in life. I don't think anyone has it figured out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree with you completely. It's if you get one no,
Yeah.
just keep it trucking.
That's, I think, the idea behind, right, persistence is kind of where I like in this, and kind of what I got from, what you said, and what you really like when we first talked about this, because, she is really cool and she's beautiful and she's kind of a star and she has that like energy to her. So it's like, I'm sure that, she had guys, I mean, similar to you having girls, and it's the idea of like committing, right? I think that's the
Yeah.
other side of it too, that's the next thing that I've been dealing with, right? It's like when you're dating, early, it's like sometimes if you're dating multiple people at the same time, it gets confusing. I know that you're kind of a guy that likes to like date one at a time. You don't really like
Yeah.
to date a couple.
I can't really decipher,
Yeah.
but to your point, I guess to challenge you, I don't like the word competition within the dating realm. I don't think I believe everyone's unique. I believe I'm unique to you, to everyone else, and you should have that mindset because, I mean, put it this way, a lot of the girls that you're either seeing are single for a reason, whether it is them that they don't want to be in a relationship, or they were with another guy or seeing another guy or girl who didn't want to commit, whatever the situation was.
There wasn't the connection.
There
yeah.
wasn't
Yeah.
something there to where they're still available.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, I love to be challenged because I will challenge you right back. No, I think it's just the hard thing about New York City, right, is like it's the number game, right? And there's so many people here, and
Why is it
I
the
was
number
getting-
game?
because I think here in the city, we're exposed to so many people on a daily basis, and so many beautiful people, and people that don't come from like the most loyal background sometimes have a hard time, deciphering, oh, like, why should I commit to this one person when I can go on 4 dates this week and then decide after that, right? And I think that's something, as what I do in the dating consulting and coaching matchmaking world, it's like a lot of my clients want to set up 3 dates in 1 week. And I'm like, how are you going to decipher your emotions between each person,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I think, people come to me because, I have, a good group of people that I work with, and a lot of my clients are working on themselves, right? So that is another step in the right direction. But I think the competition side comes from it is like when you walk out on the streets, there's a million beautiful guys and girls, right? I was just at Equinox Soho on Saturday, and I was like, holy shit, everyone here is hot, right? And it was like, even like me coming, I'm like the most loyal, I was like distracted, I was like looking every which way, and I was like, holy cow, you know what I
But
mean?
what does that mean?
I mean, it's just we're all human beings, right?
Right.
And I think that is,
All right.
growing up in a small town when there was, my sisters were married at 21, and like there wasn't that many guys for them to pick from. Where here in the city, there's millions of guys and girls all over the place, right?
Yeah, but
So there is competition, right? And you have to be able to step up to the plate and be like, like I'm gonna commit, I'm gonna do the right things. I'm gonna show you that I actually like you. I'm gonna text you.
yeah.
I'm gonna call you. I think also those things come naturally to you. So, you're just you kind of have that in you, which is why I've always loved you. You're just like a guy that will always show up. You always answer the call whenever I need something. You're reliable, you're loyal, you're kind. Like those are qualities that you have that not a lot of people in the city have.
But that's differentiation. That's my point.
Yeah.
Just because someone's good looking or not doesn't mean anything.
Right, values.
You're judging. Yeah, you're judging a book by its cover.
But you do. But
Fine.
I mean,
No, that's fine. Attraction is innately
we need
how I
to-
see
yeah,
you.
We need
Right.
physical attraction.
Right.
Yeah.
But to that point, like beautiful people, single, beautiful people with maybe someone who's objectively not good looking.
Yeah, no,
Why?
right. Well,
You know?
values, right? Values, and they, making them feel a certain way. And no, I mean, listen, I totally agree with you. I'm gonna hire you for the Hitchman. I love this. I think you're right. There's a balance, right? That there really has to be, because physical attraction, right? I was talking to, and how my business runs. I show my clients photos. A lot of matchmakers do blind dates, which I think is a bit wild. I would never go on a blind date unless, like, if it was like a friend of a friend, great. But if it was like a matchmaker that was setting me up and I couldn't see the photo of the person I'm going on a date with, I don't think I would go.
So how many photos have you shown that people have said?
That happens a lot. That happens a lot for sure. And there is that, like, there's a side of that, the coaching side of it, right? We have to say, and I will say, hey, like, this person, I think you should give this person a chance because, like, your values are the same and, you have similar hobbies. And I think that you guys are looking for the same thing. I do help with that. But the blind date thing to me seems a bit scary.
I agree. I mean,
Right?
listen, on the other side of that coin, to the beginning of our conversation, putting yourself out there is number one.
Yep.
So regardless of if you make a connection with someone or not in a romantic way, it doesn't matter. You might meet someone, you might collect or hear some information, collect some information, change your perspective on life, change your perspective on dating, actually walk away and be like, all right, I'm not interested, but I learned something, and maybe I want someone who has these qualities that maybe, just you're able, once you put yourself out there, I feel as though you're learning.
Of course.
There's nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and I think, we talked about this in the lab. I think the thing I've been really working out with a lot of my guys is having the confidence to step out there, right? And I think a lot of guys wait, right? You're in your early 30s and you're developing your business and you're working your ass off right now, but you're also in a relationship. You know what I mean? I think there's a lot of people in this city that wait until their early 40s, late 30s to start dating.
Yeah.
Because they have their feet on the ground.
Well,
I don't know if there's a right or wrong answer in it. I think it's just the idea, right, of going back, of putting yourself out there and leading with the right intentions, and but of course there has to be the physical attraction. I feel like that's, I'm like, there is that side of it, right? And I have to even, like, check myself, right? And you're totally right, and I appreciate the check because it is right. And I talk about, like, my old school values from my family and my grandparents, but it also is that whole thing of, like, look good, feel good, play good. Like, go to the gym, dress right for dates, like, be attractive, because, like, that is a big part of how also relationships last.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of people that, I talk to clients that, have been married, and then I'm like, what happened? And it was like, well, we let our sex life go. We kind of let ourselves go a little bit. We gained a little bit of weight, and then we stopped having sex. And then that kind of really changed our relationship. We became more friends rather than actual, like, partners. I think sex is very normal, very, important in a relationship, because that is, or else you are just friends.
Yeah.
I talk about it all the time. I'm like, my parents are still having sex, and I love that. I don't think that's weird. I think that's great that they're still having sex.
The fact that that maybe, but
Well, no, I mean, listen, it's important. I think it's, I come from a very, like, open family in that sense, right? I have two older sisters that were, like, always talking about everything. So at a young age, I knew about.
I was in love with one of your sisters.
I know. Yeah, I do remember that. They're good.
She did not love me back.
Yeah, well, you were a little young for them. They're, but I do remember that.
What does that mean?
Yeah, you're a little young for them, but yeah, no, I appreciate your wisdom. I appreciate you coming on here. I appreciate you sharing your insights and your values with my listeners, and my clients. Take a couple notes from Sydney Rivera, because he's got it going on. So thanks for coming on. Appreciate you. Good luck.
Stacey's mom.
He's got it going on. All right. Have a good rest of your day.